Hello and welcome back, guys. It's me, Maxwellita. Today we are dealing with manga, and I think that going on from now on, I'm gonna wear my ears when we're spotlighting a manga. I think it's just gonna happen. It's just gonna be what it is. Um, yeah. So this month we are going to spotlight Nana. I thought that that would be a good book to spotlight. Um, I have been loving Nana for a very long time, and I have the whole collection. I put them here so you guys can see. I've read the whole thing. I've watched the anime and the live action. Um, I prefer the manga. I find that there's just more character development, and I like the way that it's drawn. There's just so much. There's just so much. there's just Let's grab a book. There's just so much in the book, especially just there's so much feeling with the way that I wrote. Ayazawa is a great artist, and I enjoy all of her work. I have Paradise Kiss as well and some others, but my two favorite is Nana and Paradise Kiss. So it is the month to celebrate women. We should celebrate women every day, but it is the month of International Women's Celebration for the woman and the girl. So I thought, why not celebrate an icon in the manga industry, a woman that created something that is such an amazing masterpiece, in my opinion. Unfortunately, it is not finished. We don't know if it's going to be finished. It's been on a 15 plus year hiatus, and I'm sad. But regardless, what we got was beautiful, and I hope that one day it will be finished. That is my hope. Anyway, let's jump into my spotlight. All right, so the reason why I love Nana is because the story is so real. And that is what I love to get from my manga. I find that that happens a lot in shoujo mangas. You tend to get the realness of the characters in there, but this is just heavy. It's just heavy. Like, to give you a brief synopsis of the story, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't read it, and if you haven't read it, I do suggest you go and read it. But the story generally just goes, there's these two girls, both of them are named Nana. They meet each other on a train after some crazy things have happened, and they're going to Tokyo to go and live out a dream or figure out their lives or figure out their relationships. And they just happened to meet on this train, and they created a amazing friendship, and it's complex. Their relationship is intense. There's so many things that occur between the friends that they create together that they had separately and the friends that they brought together and taken with them along the way. In this story, one of the nanas, she's called Hachiko, as a nickname, and I find that they're both interesting but also different. It's like two sides to a coin in a sense. You got the face card, and then you have the backside of the coin. But they're just two different people, but somehow they've connected. And this whole story is just about love. It's just about how relationships grow and change, but also if we don't nurture them or if we don't talk to each other when we're in these relationships, how they can misread certain things and they just go on a completely different trajectory. I cried reading this. I truly did. I find that Nana, her story, her backstory, I'm gonna refer to Nana as Nana and Nana as Hachiko, because it's just easier for you to understand instead of me just saying Nana every time. So Nana, her backstory is just crazy. She is an orphan, and we find out about her mother abandoning her, She doesn't know who her father is. Her grandmother took her in, but then she passes away, and so she needed to make a change in her life. She found music when she was young in high school with a couple of friends, and they created a band together. And it's there's also a rivalry band as well, Trapness, which her partner at the time goes and joins that band, and it is grunge music at its finest in a sense. So I has an obsession. The writer Ai Miyazawa has an obsession with music, especially music, European rock music, and she created this based off of oh my god, Sid Vicious and Sex Pistols, and you can kind of see that throughout the outfits they wear, and I mean, I love the clothes. I, I get sidetracked by everything as I open the book. I love how it's styled. If you've watched the anime, you've seen the soundtrack and you've listened to the music. And I find that the music definitely resonates with each one of the different bands. So with Blast and with Trapness, Nana's band is Blast, and Rin's band is Trapness. Speaking of Rin is Nana's other half. They kind of created a soul bond with each other, and it's that love that you can't escape. And for her, it was just really hard because a tragedy happens, and she just can't go on after the fact. And for me, I find there was like small little moments of tragedies along the way in their relationship where like they would date and they'd have to break up, and then he'd move away, and then they'd get back together when she moves to Tokyo, and then it's a whole thing and they can't really be together because her dream is just to sing. She just wants to sing and let her voice be heard. But there's so much bureaucracy within the music industry that just kind of stops a lot of that from occurring. But her dream is just to sing. And so with Rin, he gets the spotlight. He gets the performance. He gets to play. His band is like the biggest band. And there is some jealousy and resentment towards that because, like Nana wants to keep Ren to herself so that they can do this together. But they never usher these words. They never say these things, which is sad. There's a lot of things in this book that is left unsaid. And I've reread it so many times, and I've seen and noticed that all of the thoughts, like all of the sort of reflection for a lot of things come from either one of the nanas and not from anybody else, which I found so fascinating. Like this is me reading it like the second or third time and realizing, because with the way that Ayazawa writes, you almost think that you're feeling and hearing everything they're saying because it's portrayed on their face, but it's just not, it's not there. There's no words like other than what they're saying. So it's my favorite thing about the book. And like when you look, it doesn't matter which one you pick, you look at the front covers of the book, and each one it's just Nana, right? All of them it's some iteration of Nana, except for the first book, right? The first book is just Nana on her own, and then she's joined by Hachiko in the second book, and that's just how their story unfolds, because Nana is reflecting on all of the things that has occurred in her life and led her up to the point where she felt she needed to leave. And what kept her there, or what kept her glued together, was obviously Rin, the love that she has for him, but also the love that Hachiko has for Nana. And their relationship, that bond that they created together was just so strong. And so for her to lose Nana in the way that she does, which if you haven't read it, I'm so sorry, I'm going to spoil, but Nana had to leave because her relationship deteriorated between Hachiko and her, because Hachiko decided to marry the devil. So a lot of people hate this character, and it's Takumi, and he is pretty much the manager of Trapness, which is Ren's group. And he has been striving to get Trapness to the highest echelons of society for the longest time, to just be the biggest band in Japan. And so for him, the most important thing was Trapness. And so he would do anything to make sure that it went according to plan. And he got there. The thing is, at the same time, he treated his bandmates in a way that just pretty much fractured the group beyond repair. At the highest point of Trapness group collaboration, of them like being together as a band, they were going through the most. Like Ren had an addiction, a drug addiction, which is very unfortunate, but that's how he could cope with a lot of the nonsense that was going on. Reira, she had an obsession with Takumi, but she's trapped in this gilded cage that she can't really leave. And so that kind of throws everything on a whack. And then you have Takumi, who's like the puppet master to all of it. Like, I'm just going through the book in my head, and I'm like, everything was connected to this man, this quote unquote devil. It's just wow how he does that. And it's hard for me to say this, but I know that he's a bad guy, but I think the way that the character is written is very well done, because you wouldn't hate him as much as you did if it wasn't a well-written character, a well-written story. And Ayazawa has done a fantastic job of giving you a villain, of giving you a person who can go to the deepest of depths of that feeling that you have of a person that you absolutely detest, just by showing you his drivenness. Which, in the same aspect, think about it, Nana is just as driven as Takumi, but he does things that he just shouldn't. Like, he puts people in situations that they shouldn't. He traps Reira in a way where she is completely reliant on him. She's practically still trapped as that teenage girl that he heard sing for the first time, and he needed to put her on stage so that everybody could hear her, but he felt like he was the only one that could do that. And I mean, I'm sure he probably wasn't, but he thought that was the case. And then when you get to his backstory and you see that, you know, his father was a drunk and his mom was abusive, well, not abusive, but like she was in a very depressive state and couldn't do anything for herself, which is more like neglect. And he's always just wanted to be better than whatever the circumstances was, and he would have done anything to get there. And he did anything and everything to get there, including keeping his best friend, well, his bandmate, high, and trapping a woman to the point where she could not rely on anybody else but him, and then making her his mistress at some point or another. Even though he knows the relationship that he has for her is not that kind of relationship, but he feels that's the only way to keep everything in check. So like, there's just so much in it that I found was intense. So even though I detest the character Takumi, the person in itself, he's a human that is just living a life in the way that he feels it should be lived. And if that means destroying everybody in the process of getting to that point, then he would do that. And I just find that that is a great character. It was captured so well. Anyway, that's enough about Takumi. I have so much to say and I don't know where to start. Okay, give me a second. Pause. Okay, so I've calmed down. So where I want to start up next is I want to talk about, I have a list. I want to talk about my characters. Since I was talking about Takumi, I thought that I should just talk about my favorite characters and what I loved about them. Um, so let's start from the bottom. Technically, Takumi is the bottom of that list. He is still a favorite character regardless of the hatred towards him, because I just like the character in itself and how it was written, how he was written. Then I would say my next favorite character is Shin. Shin's story is just so sad. This is a child that was abused. He is forced to grow up faster than he should have. He comes into the group as a replacement for Ren, because once Ren left, Blast ended, right? But once they started getting the band back together, they were able to meet another person that would be able to assist them, and that was Shin. So Shin story is just sad. It's just a kid that was used, that was abused, but at the same time, he was a great bandmate. He tried his best to be there for everybody, and at the same time, he was still left unprotected. But his character arc, oh, his build, the story, amazing. Yasu is then my next one. He is the backbone to the group. He is very much misunderstood, but also reliable, and his bald head is amazing. And then Ren, Nobu is my next favorite, because he's the kind-hearted one. You know, he's trying to be the knight and savior for these women in his life, and he just can't do it. And then it's Ren, but Ren, yeah, I've already talked about Ren so much in this story. But yeah, that's what I thought about Nana. It is just a great story about love and relationships, and just wanting to be saved. So tell me what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next one.